You can't do
Absolutely.
that. Show favoritism to one grandbaby and diss them and your daughter and her husband and showing all this gratitude and favoritism to our son. No, it's unacceptable to me. And that's why I'm saying she needs to be called out. And from here on out, she will be called out. But this, the way she's acting,
Right.
you never got where you truly never got what you came from, girl. You was 2 blocks from the projects. I couldn't find out. This dude was a financial lawyer.
Wow.
Dealing with finance, they know nothing about criminal law or nothing like that.
Right.
Listen to me, y'all. I'm gonna show you how good
You
God
better
is.
listen, because if God is with you, who could be against you?
Wow, you don't know what to say, baby boy.
We're here for the introduction of In and Out. It's a movement to change the world. It represents all things and all of us at all times. It's about freeing ourselves of any prison.
Welcome to In and Out Podcast, where I have dope conversations with incredible people who have been released from some form of prison. I am Eric Gerald, and today I'm talking to my guest, Jimmy Townsend, as he takes us along his incredible journey of overcoming the longest odds and achieving great success. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing better than I deserve, E.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I can't complain, and especially you talking to a man that did 27 years in prison, that's out now. I don't have nothing to complain about. It's all good.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Humble and grateful. I appreciate it. I want to thank you first for coming on and taking your time. I know you got a lot going on. Doing your book distribution and all of the different ventures that you're doing since you've been home. I want to give you an opportunity. Just tell us a few of the things that you're doing. Just introduce yourself, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Okay, well, I am Jimmy Townsend. And what can I say? Well, actually, some people know me by Jim Townsend, and that's a story in itself why I interchangeably say Jim and Jimmy. So anyway, you discover why in the book, in the book Snakes in the Garden.
No doubt.
So, but anyway, since I've been out of prison, and I tell a lot of people that it's been more traumatic being out of prison than when I was in prison. That's a story in itself, though.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so after 27 years, you would think that I would be saying the opposite, complete opposite, but it's true. I've been going through so much since I've been out of prison.
No
but
doubt.
don't get it twisted now. I'm not trying to go back to prison because of that. So yeah, that's what's happening.
All right. Awesome. I want to ask you, I want to jump right into, since you say you've been going through actually, some would say, or you could say that you've been going through actually a harder time in some ways since you've been out. And I want to ask you how so, because I believe there's so many people that really they might not understand exactly what one might face when they do come home. Now, you had a life sentence on you, and you ended up doing 27 years, and we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the clemency that you received from Barack Obama,
Right.
and how your sentence was prayerfully cut short. And that's why I'm talking to you today, because you were actually supposed to die in prison if the federal government had it their way.
That's right.
But tell me some of the struggles that you had to deal with that you could explain, so people will know when you came home after that, that incredibly arduous journey of doing 27 years in federal prison.
Well, let me say this. My mindset when I came out of prison after doing those 27 years, my mindset was strictly on family oriented. I wanted to bond with my kids, and of course now I had grandkids. And my kids, and I was going to try to basically, I hate to say live my life that I missed through my grandkids, but basically that's what it would be, because when I left, my kids was very young, 5. In fact, with my kids by, I guess all you all know that Marjorie Harvey, that's now married to Steve Harvey, is my ex-wife. So basically we had, I had a 5-year-old, and she was pregnant with my son. She was 8 months pregnant with my son. And of course I had other kids, 8, very young. So my mindset was to come out of prison, and really it's all about bonding with my family. And not only my kids, my kids and my grandkids, but my brothers and sisters and everybody.
Right.
Even before I went to prison, I was definitely family oriented. That was some of the most important things to me. And so, and that was my mindset when I came out. And it turned out not to be the way I had visioned it to be while I was in prison.
Right.
Coming out. So that's why I tell people it was seemed to be more traumatic for me out of prison than it was in prison.
Well, I definitely know where you're coming from. Can you tell me a little bit more about, like, how did you visualize it would be when you came home as opposed to how it was actually? Can you just go a little deeper into that?
When you're saying that, you meaning that when I came out, how traumatic it was?
Well, yeah, I think you just said, if I heard you correctly, it was when you came home, it was different than you visualized it would be.
Oh, you know when you have the mindset everything is going to be perfect,
Right.
but then you you come in and deal with reality,
Right.
and those that your family you really thought that was going to be. Now don't get it twisted. I don't want people to misunderstand me. Is that it was just some people in my life, family,
Okay.
that just didn't get it as far as what my mindset or my vision to be when I got out of prison. When and I think you did other time you said
100%.
yeah, so you know how it is when you in a cell or on a compound,
Right.
isolated from family, and I
Right.
can only see them maybe certain time during visitation days
Right.
or whatever, and especially if you are a family-oriented person.
That's right.
So I guess I suffered even more so because I really, really, really miss family,
Right.
because we had those family dinners and all those things later on in life. But it was I keep saying using the words traumatic.
Right.
I mean, and if I just really give you all the details that came up to the point to whereas getting out of prison, I'm talking about to the day my family had been estranged, my sisters and brothers. I had to deal with that.
Wow.
When I really thought that when I come out of prison, we was gonna have this big party,
Right.
and and do those things, bond, hug, kissing, and all like that as family, and it didn't turn out to be that way.
Right.
My family was. So I'm just being, and people know when in my book and even during my interviews, man, I'm very transparent. I don't hold
Right.
back nothing. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it was, and I was very disappointed.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right, Jimmy. I did do some time in prison. I did 6.5 years, and only people that have been through what we've been through. When you are a prisoner, we know what it's like to be in slavery. I mean, right? I mean, it's another form of
Yeah, you can call
of
it
slavery.
right.
And so obviously I can't compare the time. I did 6.5 years, which is an incredible amount of time to do from my point of view. But you did 27 years.
I did.
And I can't fathom doing that amount of time, because when you were in there, I guess for 27 years of your life, you thought you were going to die in prison. Is that right? Because you had no possibility of parole.
Well, initially, you're right. Absolutely, I thought that I was going to die in prison because it was solidified with that, and life sentence without the possibility of parole.
Jeez.
So yeah, that's the mindset. You think that, in fact, they designed it like that.
Right.
You were supposed to come out of prison in a box.
Right.
That was the only way. But I tell people all the time, their plans didn't turn out for me, right? Because I'm sitting here talking, we interviewing.
Ain't no doubt.
So yeah, so it was that was cool. So their plans was thwarted, and by the grace of God, I always give God the praise and honor that He's so richly deserved.
You have to.
That's right, you got to.
Yeah, so, and so while you were in there, and while anyone is in there, especially in the federal system, in theory, you're supposed to stay within 500 miles of your family. Was it like that for you?
No, and that's what's so crazy about it, because when my whole thing was political, a lot of it was politics, right?
Politics.
Because I wouldn't cooperate with the government.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So they made an example out of me. And like you said, in the federal system, we talking about the federal system, y'all. In the federal system, they try to put you at least close to your home.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And so, but what they did was they sent me all the way up to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
How far was that from your home?
That was Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. You talking about all the way up on the East Coast. I'm southern. I'm southern about Memphis, Tennessee. So
Way more than
how far is
500
that?
miles.
Oh man, yeah. How many miles is it? 800, 900?
Yeah,
Something
or
like-
more.
You know what? Or more? Yeah, you're right. Because even I remember, and I say this in too, but I remember when my family, in fact, Marjorie caught a flight. And the closest city, I forget the name of the city from Lewisburg, but it was 100 miles just to get
Wow.
from the airport to the penitentiary. You see what I'm saying? So, what they did, and you got to remember too, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, y'all, it's up in the mountains. So we're up in the mountains. And in fact, when they was taking me there, I didn't know that. But on the bus, on a bus from, I don't know why I can't remember the city in Lewisburg. It'll come to me. But anyway, when they started going up, it was nighttime when we were arriving in Lewisburg, but you could feel yourself going up, up. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it was Lewisburg is up in the mountains, and they kept me there, which actually, like you said, I think you said, 18 months. They're supposed to keep you at least 18 months if they're going to take you outside of that 500 radius you was talking about.
Right. It's supposed to be no more than 18 months.
18 months,
Okay.
right. And after 18 months, if you got clear conduct in prison, you see what I'm saying, not bringing them in any problems or anything, then they'll get you closer to home. But, and I was a model prison.
I was going to ask you, did you give them some problems?
No, I was a model prison. Never had a write-up or nothing like that.
Wow.
So, but anyway, they kept me there 5 years.
Oh, man.
But it was, you know, that's where they carried me.
And
but they meant it for, let me say this here, E. They meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Because, and you got to understand, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, you had the brick wall.
Right.
Not no razor wire. You couldn't see nothing.
Right.
You know, you can look up, go up. They had a little movie house. You
didn't see no trees for a long time.
No trees. You don't see trees.
You didn't touch no grass.
I didn't touch no grass. Well, you know what? They had a little spot there. They have a little
They
spot
did give you
with
a little spot?
grass.
Oh,
yeah,
bless
but
their
brick
heart.
wall. But you're looking at brick wall.
Right.
You know, so for 5 years, I saw on that brick wall.
Wow.
And so they kept me there, you know, even on clear conduct. So they eventually did let me go after 5 years. But let me say this here. I'm telling you, that Lewisburg was some of the best time that I did out of my 27 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you got to do time somewhere, Lewisburg wasn't that bad, huh?
Yeah, you know,
In comparison.
I did the time. I didn't let time do me.
Ain't no question.
Right. So
and that's plain for all to see because you are you thriving. So do you suspect that one of the reasons why they sent you so far away and gave you so much time is because, like you said, you didn't cooperate? So you went to trial and this was punishment?
Yeah, I went to trial, found guilty by hangman's jury, and I got to put that in because it really was. I think it was all white jury. They had one black, and
they call that a jury of your peers, huh?
what they call it?
A jury of your peers, all white and one black.
You're right.
That's what they say.
Yeah, right. You're right. But that's what happened. So yeah, I was found guilty on conspiracy for nonviolent crime and given that draconian sentence.
Nonviolent.
That's right.
And they found a way to give you life.
Yeah, and it was really because I wouldn't cooperate with the government.
Right.
And that's the story in itself.
Yeah, it's a sad state of America, and they still doing it. You know that all too well. I know there's a lot of brothers and sisters that's still in there and left behind, and the laws haven't changed. I want to back up to something that you said. You said that Marjorie was flying to Lewisburg to come see you. That's Marjorie Harvey. That's Steve Harvey's current wife.
Yeah. Yes, my ex-wife. That's right. Yeah.
You two have children together?
Yeah, we have two. We have two children, 2 kids. We have a daughter and a son, and loving to death. Right. Loving to death, and yeah, we do.
So she did bring the children to see you. You know, and I commend her for that because, you know, like you said, you were so far outside of the 500-mile radius. Yeah. Obviously not easy for a mother of 2 children to make that trip back and forth, to go in there, to visit a loved one in prison. But she did bring them. How often did she bring you? How often were you fortunate enough to have your children come see you?
You know what, E? I'm glad you brought that to the floor, because when you really look at it, a lot of people thought or whatever, that I wrote this book, you know, in order to throw Marjorie under the bus. Right. It's about hating. One thing, anybody know me, I'm never a hater. I was never a hater. It was all about trying to escalate you or bring you up with me, you know what I'm saying, in the game or whatever I was doing in life. But I would never, and I tell people, even when I do the interviews, I want to make that perfectly clear. Right. There was no way I would throw the mother of my kids under the bus. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, I mean, my partner in crime, you know. I'm just keeping it real. And
that's what it's all about. That's why you're
here. I keep using that word when I do my interviews, transparent. I ain't gonna hold nothing back. I'm gonna keep it real. And it was, she did. She brought those kids to see me. I'm gonna give her those kind of accolades because she did that for 20 years. She brought those kids to see me, my 2 kids, you see. And like I said, all the way up in Lewisburg, she got a plane there and had to travel another 100 miles to bring her. So she was very dedicated. And I give her that. You see what I'm saying? And but people ask me now, well, why am I? And that's a sticky situation. And then again, it's not E. Why I'm just saying the things and bringing everything to the floor is because during this time, And I think we talked about it, and follow me, y'all. We was talking about doing a 3-series book. But
Right.
the third book was supposed to be about post-prison, after I got out of prison. And so the things, that's what I'm saying, it was so traumatic getting out of prison.
Right.
So Marjorie, for 20 years, so she totally flipped the script on me.
Wow. How so?
She was married a second time to her. Everybody think Lori Harvey is my child. Let me set the record straight, because in my book it says Jimmy Townsend, the untold story. So let me tell y'all the true story about that. Lori Harvey is not my daughter. A lot of people think that she is.
Okay.
That's a guy named Donnell Wood, my daughter, who was in the game. But Marjorie, she just went totally crazy after she married Steve Harvey.
Wow.
And that's the only reason I'm just blowing it. And it's not throwing on the bus. I'm saying that I'm holding you accountable.
You speaking it plain.
I'm speaking plainly, because that's the only thing that, even when, I saved her from going to prison.
Wow.
And that's how I got into a lot of this life sentence and stuff. But it was cool. That was cool. I did that. And if I had to, and I tell everybody, if I had to do it again, I would do it again, because my baby Morgan was 5 years old, and she was 8 months pregnant with my son, Jason. So if I had to do whatever I did to keep her from going to prison, I would have done it, and I would do it over again.
Wow.
So that's why I never said anything. I've been out of prison 6 years, going on 7. My book has been written. I wrote my book in prison.
Incredible.
But my book wasn't about writing it and talking about what me and Marjorie Bridges Harvey did. Actually, Marjorie Bridges Townsend Harvey did.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I wanted my story to be about, I came out of prison, bonded with my family. And I tried to bond with Marjorie only with a friend, as a friend, because we didn't went on with our life.
Right.
So I'm just saying this because what she's doing now is unacceptable when it comes to our daughter and our grandkids by Morgan. You can't do that. And I'm just saying, I want everybody to know, you can't do
Absolutely.
that. Show favoritism to one grandbaby and diss them and your daughter and her husband, and showing all this gratitude and favoritism to our son. No, it's unacceptable to me. And that's why I'm saying she needs to be called out. And from here on out, she will be called out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, let me say this, and I do have a follow-up to that, but, on this podcast, In and Out, like, we just deal with speaking it plain and just stating the truth, and we deal with real people.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really why I wanted to sit down and talk to you, because you're one of the last Mohicans, so to speak. You one of the realest ones. You went to trial, as you say. If you really wanted to throw someone under the bus, you could have did that years ago, and you could have saved yourself, and you didn't have to go have a life sentence. You could have had a shorter sentence. But for someone to face a life sentence and protect the mother of your children, I salute that and I admire that. So let me ask you, so how is, like, when you say she should be called out, what type of things is she doing now? Let me say this. Did she continue to come see you for the length of time that you was in prison with your children, or did it stop at some point? And what happened? What do you suspect happened? What was the reason for that?
Well, as I said before, it's because I don't, and I tell people I don't really understand. For 20 years, I tell people, okay, you make that decision. You look at it. I'm just gonna give you the facts. You make that decision why she did it. I'm telling you, for 20 years, the woman was faithful as a friend. You see what I'm saying? We had talked, and you go on with your life and do your thing, because you got my 2 babies there that you got to take care of. She told me out of her own mouth that, Jimmy, listen, you done left me here with 2 babies. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure they have what I didn't have.
No doubt.
Beautiful. Go on. That's right. I'm praying for you to make it happen. So my thing is, and she did that. I'm saying for 20 years. Like I said, I'm laying it out. Y'all make that decision. Y'all determine what's right and what's wrong. I'm telling you what she did. I'm telling you, for 20 years, the woman was faithful, and I'm giving her all kind of accolades for that. But I'm saying after, and even your second marriage, you were still a faithful friend. I could call you anytime, day or night, and you're gonna answer that phone, and we're gonna chat as friends.
And that's real.
That's real. That's keeping it real. Just like I kept it real. From keeping you from going to prison. I kept it real. I was true to the game. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that after you married Steve, I talked to you 3 days before you married Steve Harvey, and we was talking as friends, as the mother of our kids. And I'm telling you that I'm gonna call you and congratulate you after your marriage. In 3 days after you get married, your phone number changed after 20 years.
Wow.
And I never hear your voice again except on social media. After having to call you anytime, day or night. So I tell people, you make that decision. my whole thing, and you know what? That was cool with me. I still went on. Remember, we talking about over years. I still went on. Okay, you did that. That's cool. Just leave me alone. I leave you alone. Just let me continue to bond with my babies and grandbabies. But now, when you get to acting stupid, doing what you're doing, that a lot of people don't know about, then that's when I went crazy. No, you can't do that to our daughter, her husband, and our grandbabies. No, that ain't gonna happen. Because whatever, I'm gonna use social media to call you out because you need to be called out. You see what I'm saying? So I want everybody, don't never think it's about hatred or hater or whatever you might think. I'm telling you now, truly what it's about. So that's it.
Yeah, that's deep, brother. Did you,
real deep.
When you came home, did you try and reach out to her?
No, there was no way you can reach out to her because she's in her little castle now where, you know what I'm saying, that you can't, you can't reach her in her castle because, and I'm saying that from a mind perspective.
Right.
She have forgotten where she came from. You got to understand, Marjorie came from South Memphis, which is the ghetto part of Memphis, half of 2 blocks from the Lamont Garden projects where I was raised up in. You know what I'm saying? So you don't forget where you're coming from. And my crazy thing about it, and I'm calling it out, the crazy thing about it, you your best friend that you grew up with as sisters, you done separated yourself from her, don't talk to her. I'm busting out. I'm just telling you a lot of things.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because she need to be called out for this, the way she's acting.
Right.
You never got you truly never got what you came from. Girl, you was 2 blocks from the projects, you see? So you can't, what she's doing now, she's looking down through her nose at people.
Right.
Yeah, and you dissing our daughter and our grandbaby. So yeah. So I don't want nobody to, like I said, I gave her a proper accolades for what she did for 20 years. But now you done went crazy. So yeah. Well, ask me some more.
Yeah, well,
This is calling her out, people. This is what this is doing, yeah.
Yeah, and it's speaking in plain, reality is reality, facts are facts. And what I would be interested in knowing, because, I just feel that any human being, any man, any woman should never want their children to not have a relationship with the other parent, no matter who they with or what the deal is. Obviously, I mean, you stated already, you don't know why. People have to draw their own conclusion. But what, do you think there was some outside influence, or what if Jason and Morgan, your 2 children, your son and your daughter, how do they feel about it? And, what do you think is the deal with that?
You know what? When it comes to Morgan, our oldest daughter, and one and only daughter, we are like this now.
That's good.
You see what I'm saying? We like this. And a lot of stuff I have found out, this was just talking to her because she came to find out just what time it was with her mother.
Right.
And how she's went crazy. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of more stuff I want to tell everybody, but yet and still I want to put it in my 3rd book.
No doubt.
I'm telling you, I just want to, and I'm just going to lay it all out, just like I have in my 1st book. I want you to read it. And
wait, I'm halfway through and it's a good one. It's amazing.
Okay, and I want to thank you for the T-shirt too. I want to digress for a minute.
Listen, y'all, the book is incredible. The man has a gift, and I'm honored to sit next to, because he's not just Mr. Jimmy Townsend, he's the author, Mr. Jimmy Townsend. And I've read a lot of books. I did time too, and I read relentlessly. But this man has a way of describing a story to you where it puts you where you are there. And we're going to give you all the information before it's over. Because the name of the book is Snakes in the Garden, The Untold Story of Jimmy Townsend. And it's an incredible read. One of the best reads I've ever had.
And I appreciate that. You for real?
That's 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like when you get into it and you're reading it, it's like you're hanging on to every single word. Yeah. And the way that this man right here, Jimmy Townsend, has a way of describing things. It puts you there. You feel like you were in Rouville, Mississippi with him growing up as a kid. And those are some of the other questions I want to ask you, because I'm amazed at how you're able to go back to when you was a child and to be able to describe things as if it just happened yesterday. Yeah. But I want to continue on this path because this is getting good. Just because it's real life stuff. We're not doing this for clickbait, because when I spoke to you the first time, Jimmy, I told you the story to me.
Yeah.
And in our podcast is about giving people who have been through something or who are going through something, an opportunity to see other people who have been through something, who have been at a low point in their life and have overcome, so that they can make an impact. So it can make an impact on others' lives. It's about sharing incredible stories of extraordinary people like yourself. So when someone else out there is watching, they can say, if Jimmy Townsend was able to overcome what he overcame, then I could overcome what I overcame. So from the beginning, it was your story that it's incredibly fascinating to me. And then when I spoke to you, if you remember, you shared with me that while you were still in prison, when you got that commutation from Barack Obama in the last hour, the last day, and I want you to tell us a little about that and what led up to that and how that happened. But you told me, you said, Eric, you said, I want to make an impact on the kids and on the children in order to give back to society. And I commend you. I commend you for doing that. So I want to ask you, what are things that you feel Marjorie and Steve, or Marjorie or Steve, could have done to help your situation? To help your situation when you were in prison and you were seeking to have your sentence commuted?
First of all, what the hell is clickbait?
Okay, so clickbait is what a lot of people do. Like, so I suppose because of the connection between Marjorie and Steve Harvey, people will only focus on that part of your life and your connection to Marjorie in order to get people, in order to get attention, basically on social media.
Yeah. No.
It was your story that was the most interesting part to me.
No. Well, you know what? First of all, you know, if you've listened to some of my interviews, the first thing I tell interviewers, this thing ain't about Marjorie Harvey. Basically, this thing is about me and my life story and what I went through and what God brought me through and out of. That's what this thing is about. And as you read the book, you'll see what I'm saying. And you asked the question about what could Steve Harvey and Marjorie have done to help me get clemency.
If anything, do you feel?
Well, a lot of people was asking that. A lot of people, you know how social media is. You deal with it, so you know you get all kind of people's own opinions and postulations. So I'm saying that no, Steve and Marjorie, and they was in perfect position. Perfect position to help me get clemency.
How so?
So because they was like, this was Obama. If you followed politics and saw exactly what's going on, especially during Obama when he's running for president, he was constantly on Steve Harvey's show.
That's right.
They was whining and dining with each other. So, you know, it ain't, you know, the old cliche it says, it ain't what you know, it's who you know.
That's right.
So they had the perfect person. And I know because in prison, I had a friend, his name was Robert Anderson.
Right.
He had a life sentence without the possibility of parole, just like I did.
Right. And neither one of you killed anybody, just to make that clear.
Yeah. Remember, it's a nonviolent crime.
Nonviolent drug offense.
That's right.
Right.
So anyway, so he knew somebody that knew this particular congressman, right? And so he spoke to him. The congressman went and spoke to the Obama regime, and he got clemency.
Wow.
So I knew that. In fact, I went to my daughter, Morgan, and I said, Morgan, go to your stepfather, you know, Mr. Harvey, if you want to say.
Okay.
And Steve Harvey, but anyway, and tell him, you know, because he's before this whole world telling you how much he loved you all as a blended family.
That's
Am
right.
I right or wrong?
Am
I right or wrong, people?
Right.
That's what he was. That's what he was postulating to the world.
And he married her mother.
That's right. And in fact, during that colloquy between Jason and himself, you know, he said, I love your mother, so I got to love you.
100%.
That's what he told Jason.
That's what any man would say.
And then he went on to say, where's your punk ass daddy?
Oh, man.
Saying all that. But what I'm saying is, is that they were in a perfect position. I wouldn't have to go through all the stress, pain, and misery of wondering whether I was going to get clemency. You see what I'm saying? When all they had to do was put in the word. Man, you love my daughter.
That's right.
You love my son. And you know they have a relationship with me. They love me as their daddy.
Right.
They never disowned me until really well, that's another story. But anyway, bottom line is, so if you love them like you say, and you know we got a relationship, I wasn't a deadbeat daddy. I can say if I was a big, they had the best of everything.
Right.
You see? So anyway, well, Morgan did. Jason, she was 8 months pregnant with Jason, but Morgan had the best of everything. But anyway, my thing is, put in the word to get your dad out. Yeah, you're out of prison. You know, because he did an article in Essence where he spoke out on how the government was, he called it niggering, because they was talking about it.
Steve Harvey did an article
Yeah,
in Essence.
It's in Essence. Go and look it up. They was doing an article, and he spoke out on how they were doing. The government was doing brothers, giving these draconian sentences.
Wow.
He did.
When?
And he said, "I tell you what niggering is. It's giving these blacks these little all this crime for a little petty drug."
Wow.
So I said in my mind, I said, well, you know what? That dude, he get it. He know what they doing to us. But then you turn around, here's here, this is me. I'm talking about me now. A life sentence without the possibility of parole, non-violent,
That ain't right.
drug crime. You in a perfect position to help me, the kids, daddy that you say you love, and you don't do it. And not only that, Marjorie ain't nowhere in the world. She was supposed to say, hey, Steve, we got to help him because, he helped me.
Wow.
I'm not impressed. I'm with you because he didn't take me to prison with him. Wow. That's all I'm saying. I'm just keeping it real now.
No doubt.
This stuff I've been holding in, and now I'm not, and trust me, I promise, I'm not mad.
Right.
Only thing that I'm pissed off is because how you doing our grandbaby is our daughter and her husband.
Right.
That's it. All the other stuff, that vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Right.
So I'm just keeping it real from that perspective. Right. So yeah, they was in a perfect position to help me.
Right. And you reached out to Morgan and...
Yeah, I sent Morgan to tell her. This is what I did. I told Morgan to go and talk to your stepfather and tell him to put in a good word. And I'm out of here. That's all it is. Like I said,
Right.
It ain't what you know, it's who you know.
100%.
And they was in perfect position to do that for me and didn't. So,
Did she tell you why?
I never talked to her. That's what I'm
No,
trying to tell you.
Morgan. What did Morgan say when you?
Morgan told me, she said, Dad, I'm telling you, he gonna throw it under the carpet. Otherwise, she knew what he felt about me. So we talked now. A lot of things that I didn't know and see, she made it plain to me.
Right.
And she's 37 now. So.
Wow. Well, that's Jimmy Townsend. That's pretty deep. So, how did you end up getting winning the commutation after all from President Obama? Tell us a little a bit about how that took place.
Well, during that time and during this regime, you had to, so they came up, and I tell everybody now, I think it was really Eric Holder, that was really his baby, as far as knowing that we should do something, knowing that the regime should do something for these guys, like me, that was in prison with these crazy, unjust sentences.
Right.
And so he was in Obama's ear. That was pretty much, and I got to give the accolades to who deserved it. That was Eric Holder. And so, but anyway, and so long story short, that the protocol for clemency, to obtain clemency is, they furnish you the lawyers, right, to file the papers, the necessary paper.
Okay, I didn't realize that. So the government gives you attorneys to work with you to file the paperwork.
Yeah.
All right.
But let me
submit it.
But let me show you this in fake scenario. The government had given me a lawyer.
Okay.
To file the papers. They was giving everybody a lawyer to file the paperwork to get clemency.
Right.
Now, I had a lawyer, but this lawyer never called me to inform me that the government had given him to become a lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah, but during this time, Morgan and her husband, right? They went to Morehouse, and she went to.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but they had a friend. They had a friend that was a lawyer.
Okay.
Right, in D.C. And they asked him to do my clemency papers. Help me.
Okay.
And he did. He said, for you guys, I will. And so he began to do my clemency papers. But in the midst of it, he contacted me and told me he couldn't do my clemency papers.
Why not?
Because the government had given me an attorney. And the only way that, listen to me now, the only way that he could do my clemency papers was that I would have to sign off saying that I didn't want the government's lawyer.
That's right.
And check this out. I said, well, you didn't start. I said, no, I'll sign off. And I did, but check this out. If I had known that he was just, listen, I'm going to show you the miracle of God and how God was working in my life. Listen, I'm telling you, this funny, isn't it?
This is the good part.
But listen, this is the good part. Say, listen, so come to find out later after I had signed off the government's lawyer, right? I come to find out this dude was a financial lawyer.
Wow.
Dealing with finance, they know nothing about, criminal law or nothing like that.
Right.
Listen to me, y'all. I'm gonna show you how good
You
God
better
is.
listen, because if God is with you, who could be against you?
Wow, you don't know what to say, baby boy. So listen. So anyway, that's what happened. So I signed off, but then after I found out he was a financial lawyer, I said, "What the hell have I done?" I ain't lying. My mind was like, "Man, I done messed up." But
Right.
God was showing me something. You don't need no financial law. I mean, you don't need a criminal lawyer, whatever, man. Oh,
Right.
God. You know what I'm saying? So bottom line is, man, listen. He worked that thing. God put everybody in his path that he needed to help him get through that. And so here I am. I'm a living testimony. On a financial law, you got me. Did my paperwork for protocol. It's a protocol to get me out of prison.
Wow.
How about that?
Listen, that's amazing.
Glory be to God. God
there you
get the
go.
glory, man.
And my mind is thinking, well, listen, maybe, listen, I can't get into anyone's heart. And none of us can, and it's dangerous to even try and do that.
Yeah.
So for whatever, people that may have been perfectly situated to help you, for whatever reason they didn't, and God didn't put it on their heart to want to help, it was able to let you know where the help really came from.
That's what I'm saying. It comes from the hills. The joy of the Lord is my strength.
Right.
So
They had to give him all the glory.
You got to get
and maybe
the
you would have
glory.
gave it to another man. I don't know if that man, you'd say, well, this person helped me or that person helped me. But nah, God said, I'm going to get you out.
That's right. And I tell people, this my whole testimony is not about glamour.
Right.
It's about glory. And
Wow.
God's get the glory. And I tell everybody, if you don't want to hear me talking about God, you need to go head on.
Wow.
But I know where my help came from.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah. So that's what happened. That's what went down with that. They was in perfect position. Again, they was in perfect position to help me.
Right.
And they didn't. And you also asked me, let me say this here too, because the one of the protocols of getting clemency, you had to write a letter to the president.
Okay.
Right? Telling him why he should give you clemency.
Right.
And so in my clemency, I wrote and I went on to tell him, my remorse, truly. And I tell everybody, I deserve to do time in prison. Y'all hear me now? I deserve time in prison, but surely not a life sentence without the possibility of parole for nonviolent crime. And so, but in that letter, I also wrote my remorse and admitted that I need to get crime and all of that. But I underlined it with my whole desire of my heart was to get out and help young men, especially our young men today,
Right.
to mentor to them, to keep them from falling in the holes and the pitfalls and things that and entrapments that I was entrapped in. And you're not gonna help everybody, but you just reach the ones that you can that heal.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I did. So and so through this book, Snakes in the Garden, God has given me the platform to do just those things that I promised Obama, the regime, that I would do.
That's a beautiful
You
thing.
see, going speaking to kids and trying to keep them from falling in those various pitfalls.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Let me get it.
No, go right ahead.
This is my vision too.
I want to hear
And
it. They want to
spoke
hear it.
about
Y'all want to hear it.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
in the name of my foundation,
All right.
it's Boys to Men.
Wow.
How about that?
I love it. And tell us about the vision, Boys to Men. Like, what is the vision that you have from Boys to Men?
Well, that's what I'm saying. This nonprofit we was talking about as far as the government being in our business, we was talking
Right.
about that earlier.
Right.
And I want to do it from that nonprofit perspective, and just want to just go and get maybe brothers like you that's been to prison, just get to come and speak to these kids,
Right.
and tell them how you can be successful, and tell them there is hope. You see what I'm saying? There is hope in this world.
Right.
But I tell everybody, I don't care how you slice it or dice it. I know we have all kind of faiths and all like that. And my faith is and trust is in Jesus Christ.
Right.
That's where my faith is. Okay. So everybody have theirs, but I truly believe that in my heart, and according to my Bible, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And
Right.
no one can come into the Father except through Him.
Right.
So I go to understand, because if you really look back, man, that's why these kids are so crazy and doing all these old crazy things, because they took God out of the classroom.
Right.
They did. They took even the 10 Commandments out of the classroom. And when you look at the 10 Commandments, everything in the 10 Commandments is very, very, very good.
That's right.
Thou should not rob, thou should steal, thou should love and honor thy mother and father. Thou
That's
should
right.
not have any other gods before me. Everything is good.
Right.
They took that out. So the kids don't really have no concept of what God is. So therefore, they're going to do all ungodly things.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you got to start there at the, you can't build a house without building the foundation first.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
you
the
teach 'em.
foundation is God. And then you build up on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, 100%. And the truth should set you free, right? I mean,
Well, you read your Bible.
yeah, I read a little something. And, listen, an attorney told me once before. His name was Stephen Sadal, and this was when I was out on bond. And I was asking him some questions about speaking to a jury because I caught my case in West Virginia, and I wanted to know if he thought, basically if I could win a trial in West Virginia. Obviously, I didn't. But the thing that he told me that stuck with me is he said, anybody can be spoken to. You just got to know how to speak their language. So I say that to say, people like yourself, you know the language to speak. You're going to reach a lot of people. You're going to reach a lot of boys in their transition to becoming men or young men.
Right.
And because you can speak to them and you can speak to what they're going through in a very, very unique position that not many people can speak to.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that's been left behind and wasn't as fortunate or as blessed as you. They could be helping also, but they haven't been given the opportunity. So I want to ask you, when was it that you knew that you really wanted to impact people's lives? I'm pretty sure. I know it must have happened when you were actually in prison because you told me.
Absolutely.
You wrote to Obama and told him that.
Yeah.
How long was you into your sentence when you started having this transformation, this change of a mindset, a change of perspective, where you knew, if I ever get the opportunity, this is what I want to do. I want to help people. And did you start helping people while you were in prison?
You know what? Good question. And absolutely, I did. And that's exactly what I did. God, I'm telling you, God didn't play no games with me. You see what I'm saying? He did not. I'm talking about within 6 months in prison, man.
Wow.
I came to my conversion. Truly.
6 months
You gotta
in?
understand, I'm an old head. I've been around a long time. So I tell
That's
these
right.
kids, you can't bring nothing to me because I'm street oriented. You know what I'm saying? School-wise, I did do about 12 years in high school and a little college.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Just got side twisted and didn't just have the mentors in my life that I needed. And when you read my story, you see I done walked through many shoes. I'm talking about, you name it, I've been through. You name something that I haven't been through.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Drugs, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, you know what I'm saying? Abuse, physically and mentally from father, domestic violence, you see what I'm saying?
Wow.
You name it, goes on, molestation and all like that. I lived and was transparent and tell you about it. You see what I'm saying? But when I tell you about everything that I went through, you see what I'm saying? All of those things, but there's still hope at the end of the rainbow. That's what I want you to understand. You're going to go, and I just thank God for the platform that he's given me to speak out on these things. Because really, if I can look to my left and right, you can always look to your left and right and see somebody that's worse off than you.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? And done been through more than I've been through.
That's right.
But it's just so happened God has given me this platform to speak out. And one thing about it, like you just said, you should know the truth, and the truth that set you free.
Right.
I don't compromise when it comes to the word of God. I've been held captive by the word of God, which is truth. You see, I'm gonna give you truth. And a lot of people, they'll hate you because you give them truth, because they don't really want to hear truth.
Right.
But I'm gonna give it to you. You see what I'm saying? And you're gonna either accept it or not, and that's your prerogative.
Wow.
But when you're talking to Jimmy Townsend, I'm gonna give you some truth.
That's dope. You giving nothing but truth. You dropping some real jewels. And I hope y'all are listening. And so, Jimmy Townsend, it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like when you were locked up, when you got that sentence, that life sentence, they put you in physical prison. But it sounds like you were in a mental prison even before that. And 6 months after you were in, you came out of the mental prison.
Yeah.
And then you were still in the physical prison.
Yeah.
What were some of the hardest things?
When you say mental prison, it was a spiritual enlightenment, man. So you got to understand, I had no conception of God.
That's the mental prison I'm talking about that you was in.
Okay.
And then when you got tell me if I'm wrong, but the way I'm looking at it is, if you have no concept of God, then you're in a mental prison.
Well, you know what? Let me say this thing. Now, I was never, because a fool said in his heart, there's no God. Now, I always believed there was a God, but I didn't believe that you could have a relationship with this God, that you could really know this God, because my mind was so, at such a low in my life. Right. And I tell everybody, I went through a lot of hurt, pains, anxiety, anxiousness, and whatever you want to call it. But what I did, I put Band-Aids on it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I was holding a line. That's what I'm saying. I want to talk to these kids because I know, man, in households, there are many skeletons in closets. Kids have been abused sexually and mentally. but they hold it within and they don't know who to talk to, or they feel like they can be talked to. And remember, all this abuse it comes to somebody that's either in the immediate family or someone that's close to the family. Man, kids are suffering mentally. You know what I'm saying? Because they're holding a lot of things. That's why they act out a lot of things and do a lot of crazy things. Because going back, I don't care how you slice it or dice it, when you don't have a God foundation, you're going to do some things that's just absolutely crazy. Just look at our generation.
Oh, man.
Look at the generation that's going to have to come in and I mean, some of them, they're just doing just crazy
It
stuff.
boggles the mind, ain't no
It
doubt.
does, man.
And I tell you this, Jimmy, listen, it's not just people that have been through something that needs to hear this, because the legislatures and the congressmen and the congresswomen, they need to hear this also, because this
Right.
man, author Jimmy Townsend, is an expert on the subject matter.
That's right.
And so I want to know this. You did 27 years, but you said 6 months after you were in, you had already started having a mindset change. So I know that you have admitted, you submit that you should have done time. You believe that it was right for you to do some time. But, you know, maybe for some people, if they go to prison, a year might not be enough. That's in all honesty. But 27 years is definitely too much.
Yeah.
How much time? I mean, after how many years do you think you would, like, if you would have did 5 years, would you have come home and been a changed man? 10 years?
No, you used the word, after 6 months, I was starting
Okay.
to have a mind change. No, I was not. I wasn't starting nothing. In that 6 months, my whole mindset was try to get out of prison and get back out there and do what Jimmy Townsend, J. Mac do.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I had this encounter. I don't know, you say you read your Bible. You remember when Paul had this encounter? I mean, when God came to him and knocked him out the horse and all
I
like
remember.
that. You know what I'm saying? So no, I'm saying that was the impact that God had on me. No, my mindset, I wasn't starting doing nothing.
Okay.
My whole mindset was trying to figure out how to get out of prison. You know how you work diligently and trying to
no
get
question about it. I need
That
to
was my
get out.
mindset. What was I going to have to do through this system, the
Right.
judicial system, to get out of under this draconian life sentence?
Right.
That was my mindset. I didn't want to hear nothing nobody say. I don't want to hear nothing about no God, nobody else. I'm going to get out of this damn prison.
Right.
Because I know a life sentence means what?
It
Life.
means when you look at your
You
out
down
date,
the road, yeah.
what did your out
You
date
didn't
say?
have
When you
no
went-
out date.
when you went to team, what did it say?
I don't forget, what do they say on there?
I don't know, but I've been told.
Up there
I've
they
been
don't
told
say
it says
nothing.
deceased.
I didn't
I don't
see
know.
that.
I never had a life sentence.
But I can
you
see
did.
that. I can see that. But I never saw this six. Probably was. I didn't ever see it on my paper.
Tell me about, tell me about what it's like, the mindset to live for that long, thinking that you're going to die in prison.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult was that? What was some of the hardest challenges that you had to deal with? Was it,
Well, my hardest challenges was this first 6 months. Get to the point where I tell you during my transition
wow.
of coming to a relationship with Christ. Those are my hardest days, really, because your
Wow.
whole mindset is, okay, I got this life sentence. I'm going to die in prison.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? I'm going to die in prison, and if I don't find a way to get out, don't have anything, don't have a clue about doing legal work and all like that, and so so that weighed heavily on me, because that's all you think about. You're gonna die in prison, you see. So until I came to the point of that 6 months, and I had this encounter, this transition, truly realizing knowing who this Jesus Christ was. Because you couldn't tell me nothing about no Jesus Christ.
Right.
Jesus Christ was this white man on this wall that my auntie had on her wall.
Right.
That's what he was to me, a white man. And you got to understand, I'm 74 years old.
Wow.
So during that time, I came through the civil rights area. So,
That's right.
all I could see when they talk about this Jesus Christ was a white man, all I could see. I mean, this Jesus Christ was this person with the long hair, blue eyes, looking up at the sun. To me, he was just a white man. You see what I'm saying? And I write in my book, and I hated white people. I did. I hated white people. Not really. I didn't really hate white people. I think I hated them because I think they hated me.
Right.
Because that's all I could see at that time. I didn't realize, I go on to talk about my, I know you read about Fannie Lou Hamer.
Right. That's
the
right.
Great civil rights activist, right? And that was my dad's first cousin. But I always, every time I went to Mississippi, I'm back in Memphis now, so when we go visit Mississippi, I would always see her, and she was real close to me. She babysitted me, kept me. But I would always see these white people. Now, she fighting adamantly against white people, civil rights, right?
Fannie Lou Hamer.
Fannie Lou Hamer.
It's in your blood.
Y'all
You're
need
a
to
fighter.
Google. Y'all need to Google Fannie Lou Hamer. Those of you who don't know Fannie Lou Hamer, a great warrior for civil rights.
Family member of Jimmy Townsend. Has been in his blood. He's a fighter.
That's right.
By nature.
That's right. And so when I would go and visit her, I would see these white people embracing her and loving on her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so it was kind of conflicting. It was kind of confusing to me. Wait a minute now, she fighting against these white people, but here these bunch, you know, around there, loving her, they eating wine, breaking bread and all like that.
Right.
And so I came to the conclusion in my life that all white people ain't bad, evil, and wicked. You know?
That's right.
They not.
People
You
are
see what I'm
people.
saying? Then I went on to learn that, you know, you had whites that died for our civil rights. And so then I began to look at whites. We are all children of God, especially when my encounter with Christ.
Right.
That's when I became to really see that, hey man, you got to love all people, no matter, you know, what shades, color, whatever they are. And that's what I came to be. That brought me up out of that, I guess you can call it racism or just hatred for whites.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah.
So when did you start writing your book? And when did you get the idea? You know, and what did you know exactly what the book was going to be about when you started writing it, or did that sort of just grow into its own thing? Tell me about that.
You know what? That's a miracle of God too, because having no formal training, writing or nothing like that, you know, just with a basically a high school diploma.
Right.
Graduated with a C+ average. Truly believe that I could have done much better if I had those chances that, you know, two-parent family, a loving father, loving mother, and all that thing. You know,
Right, no doubt about it.
better. I think I would have did much better. I think I could have been a B+ at least student, but no, that kind of handicapped me. But you know, going back to the book, I knew it was a miracle because not having any kind of form of training whatsoever as far as writing, and not only did I write the book, I edited the book.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So, and I did that, and I know that was a miracle of God, you know. And so, and people love the book. Been getting nothing but, I hadn't had a negative review about that book yet. Nothing but.
I believe it.
Yeah, and we're gonna post all the reviews that we've got.
Right.
And so that was
right.
just a miracle in itself. And I wrote the book because I had plenty of time to do it in 27 years, you know, just had time. And I discovered that I enjoyed writing.
Wow.
And while in prison, I didn't do nothing but just read novels and my Bible.
Right.
Television, football season, and that's when it
Okay,
captivated
that's what's
me.
up. That's how you do the years.
Yeah, you know, everybody had
Football
their thing.
season starts with another calendar year about to be
That's
done.
right. You a football fan?
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of a nut with it.
I know. Dallas Cowboys.
Steelers.
Oh, okay, that's my daughter's team.
Okay.
I'm a Bear.
You like the Bears?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. There's still hope for Justin Fields.
Yeah, for real.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so.
So you started writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know what the name was going to be, or you know the concept?
Came
or
to
did
me
you just start-
immediately.
Wow.
Snakes in the Garden.
Wow. You wanted to tell your truth.
And you know, a lot of people was trying to get me to change that title.
Why is that?
I don't know. You know, they always came in the last hour and final hour, and you know, based on because I told you about when you mentioned it a few minutes ago that I received clemency. I did at the 3 o'clock was the cutoff date to get clemency.
Wow.
After that day, it was over with. So I got it. I was the last one to get clemency.
The last one to get clemency.
The
under
last
Barack
day
Obama.
and the last hour before 3 o'clock.
Wow.
I think it was 15 minutes to 3 when my counselor came and got me to inform me that I had gotten clemency. Yeah.
So when your counselor came to get you, informed me that you got clemency, tell me what that feeling was like. I mean, was it like, like you know how you're getting on a roller, butterflies in
Yeah,
your stomach?
butterflies.
Was
I
it-
know you're talking about. I
Yeah.
can't describe it. You know what I'm saying? People have asked me this question before. I promise you, I cannot describe that feeling. It was like a, man, I can't say just overjoyed because I didn't jump up and shout and all that. It was like I don't know, because the way they did me. They came and got me. In fact, we was on a lockdown.
Wow.
During that time. So in lockdown and no movements,
That's
and
right.
you confined to your cell and all of that. So it was a lockdown. Something had happened on the compound.
Right.
And they had us locked down. So anyway, the clemency was still going on. They was calling various people, and taking them back in this room and telling them they had clemency. And no, I got that wrong. No, they didn't, because when they came and got me, they came and got me.
Okay.
So, but I'm thinking that they come to interrogate us.
Right.
You know how they ask you,
Right.
do you see anything and all that?
Right, because they got you on lockdown. They want to know what they're doing an investigation.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
SIS or somebody.
Yeah. Do you see anything? Yeah.
You didn't have to do 4 o'clock count that day?
No, we didn't. We didn't have to. We locked down. They probably did come out and count us.
Right.
I forget.
Well, I mean, when they came to get you, that's why I was wondering.
Oh yeah, but what they did was they came and got me.
Okay.
And but unbeknownst to me, they come and get me to tell me I got clemency. My counselor came and got me.
Right.
But like I said, I'm thinking they coming to interrogate me.
Right.
Did I see anything? Did I see whatever what had happened on it? I didn't even know what had happened.
Right.
Evidently, there had been a fight or something. I don't know if it was stabbing or whatever.
Right.
But we were on lockdown. So when they came and got me, and I sat there waiting for them to interrogate me. Yeah. But they couldn't tell me that I had gotten clemency.
Oh, okay.
My attorney had to tell me.
Okay, got you.
You see what I'm saying? Or the warden.
Right.
Okay, so anyway, they was waiting for this phone call from my counselor to tell me that I had gotten clemency. So
Right.
I kept wondering why they keep waiting, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so anyway, when the phone rang, however long it was, the phone rang.
Right.
And they said, you got a phone call.
Right.
To me, I'm
Right.
saying to myself, I'm thinking they clowning me out. But listen, it's true.
Right.
And so anyway, they said, you got a phone call, Townsend, like that. So anyway, I just took the phone, and then it was Lode Holt, attorney Lode Holt. Yeah.
Right.
And he said, congratulations, man, you got clemency. And it was about 10 minutes to 3. At 3 o'clock, there was a cutoff. It would have been null and void. I couldn't have gotten clemency.
That's unbelievable, brother.
So you asked me about that feeling. I still can't interpret to you just how I feel. I can't verbalize it.
Listen,
So
that-
I don't know.
That's incredible, Jimmy Townsend. And let me say this: so the team is giving us we don't have a lot of time left, but I want to say this: I really appreciate you, and I hope hopefully you can promise me that this was the first, but not the last conversation we're gonna have, because obviously you got way too much to talk about to do it in one conversation. I want to give you an opportunity to tell everyone where they can find your book, tell them about all your social media access, so that people will know where to find you. Let them know where they can find.
Well, first of all, again, and I want to thank E for this beautiful T-shirt in and out.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
podcast.
You went
know
in,
what
now
I'm
you
saying?
out, baby.
That's right. I appreciate that. And you can get my book on this. You got me, JimLTownsend.com. That's my website. Jim, Jim, L as in love, Townsend, TOWNSEND.com. And I appreciate it. Snakes in the Garden, the untold truth of Jimmy Townsend. And again, thank you, E.
All right, thank you.
I love you, man.
Thank you so much. I love you back, brother.
All
Let me
right.
just say this. So, all right. We appreciate y'all for coming out. Y'all heard it from the one and only, the incredible, one of the last Mohicans, the author, Jimmy Townsend. You got to go out and get his book, Snakes in the Garden, An Untold Story. It's an incredible read. I read it myself. Y'all know where to find us. In and Out. That's INNOUTWW on all social media platforms. Keep checking on us, because the podcast is coming. Thank you. And we're out.
Peace.
Thanks for checking in. Now we out.